This is Ray Dietz with another week of SoCal Business and Basketball Report. This week we're at Pasadena City College back here in Southern California, where we had a showcase event today, and we'll get into that. Pasadena is it's about 10 miles north of downtown Los Angeles, and there's quite a bit that goes on in Pasadena here. We'll talk about that first. And when you think about Pasadena, you think of the Rose Bowl, and of course UCLA football plays at the Rose Bowl, and then the actual Rose Bowl football games there each year. And it's like an industry. And when you get to know the community here, you can really tell why the bowl system did not fall apart earlier, as we've gravitated to a playoff in college football, and it's a real industry here. I remember years ago when I had some meetings in the Pasadena area with some small businesses, and you go into a warehouse and you see them welding on some of the floats that'll go in the Rose Bowl parade in June and July. So it's a year-round type of process. So that's a big part of Pasadena here, and there's much more. The JPL, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, is in nearby La Cañada. It's a Pasadena zip code, and so that's where you see a lot of the engineering employees, the NASA employees there, and there's people that do well financially that work there. Caltech manages JPL, and Caltech is here in Pasadena, where they play Division III basketball there, but some of the smartest students in the world would go to Caltech. Back in the 90s, in 2003, the Genome Project was completed, and that was basically the government, and they were competing against a private company called Celera. And Celera had a site here in Pasadena where they were trying to figure out the human genome, the mapping that took place. So that brought a lot here as well to Pasadena. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He was the chairman of Wesco for years here in Pasadena on Colorado Boulevard from 1984 to 2011. Very funny guy, very blunt and straightforward, and one of those successful guys that if you would reach out to him, he's eventually going to get back to you. And he did help me as a young investment professional, and got back to me and gave me some words of encouragement, as well as Warren Buffett. One time I was driving across the country and stopped in his office in Omaha, Nebraska. He was not there at that time, but he did get back to me, and it's kind of interesting to see those kind of guys and some of the other people that are not as successful who would not eventually get back to you and try to be helpful as well. But anyhow, Charlie Munger, known for being in this area for years. From there, some other things I wanted to talk about in terms of the demographics. We talked last week quite a bit about the Philippines, and there's approximately 1 million Filipino American citizens in Southern California. Well, just along the 10 freeway from East LA out to Pomona along the 10 freeway, there's approximately 1 million Chinese Americans. And so Pasadena would be north of the 10 freeway, and so you do see the Chinese influence in the area. The Huntington Gardens for years was known for the Japanese gardens, and I'm going to guesstimate probably 10, 15 years ago, some large donations to boost the Chinese gardens there at Huntington Gardens. Beautiful place, and so that has quite an influence in the area as well. So we talked, a little bit about those things. Now, Parsons Engineering, big engineering firm, they're headquartered here as well. And I'm at Pasadena City College. There's 2,600 employees here as well. So lots of employers in Pasadena, very vibrant community, and not far from downtown Los Angeles. It does get kind of hot here in the summer, but it's a very nice community. And when I think of sports, I think of Muir High School here in Pasadena, where they've had plenty of athletes come from there. Ryan Hollins, who played basketball in the NBA and at UCLA. Jackie Robinson from Muir Technical High School is the name of the high school initially. Stacey Ogman, Jacques Vaughn, NBA basketball players, are from that high school as well. And UCLA playing football here, I think, has had an impact on young people. And one of the players from the past season with UCLA's football team, Darnay Holmes, was a very sought after high school defensive back. And I asked him one time, I said, well, what made you decide to go to UCLA? And he as a kid, he lived in the Pasadena area, so a lot of the kids look up to the Rose Bowl. And there's actually going to be another defensive back from the Pasadena area that will be a freshman at UCLA this next year as well. So in terms of the basketball, today's slate, it was a showcase event, and the first game, Etiwanda won 54-35 against Renaissance Academy. Jemai Mashik is a junior, very good athlete for Etiwanda, and Jaylen Clark is a senior at Etiwanda. He's eligible now. He transferred in this year. He's down to UCLA, USC, Oregon, Arizona, and Oklahoma, and has not made his decision where he's going yet. And he focuses on defense, and he brings some offense as well. And his father was a basketball player himself, and you can see where the defensive mindedness comes from, as his dad talks about that quite a bit. Fairfax won a tight one over St. Bernard. Fairfax has Keith Dinwiddie, who's committed to San Diego State. He likes to shoot the three, and he scores a lot. Reese Dixon Waters, a junior wing for St. Bernard's, good frame. He looks good. And there were a lot of wings here today, and when you look at the landscape of wing players, shooting guard, small forward, 6'5", range kind of guys, we had a bunch of them today. In the next game, we had Rebay Academy against Mayfair, and Joshua Christopher, who is undecided at this point. He's a senior at Mayfair and a national recruit, big, strong, 6'5", 6'6" guy. And then Tyler Powell. Rebay won the game 80-65, and Tyler Powell is a 6'5" player for Rebay. He's only a junior. And Rebay won the small school state championship last year. And right now, of all those guys I just mentioned, Tyler would actually have the strongest physique. He's really ripped, big, strong guy in his upper body. Joshua would probably be the longest, the most fluid of those guys. And then, I'd also have to mention Peyton Watson over at Long Beach Poly. He's probably going to keep growing. Right now, he's about 6'6", 6'7". So those would be a lot of those top wings here in Southern California. And they all do something. Tyler, like I say, really powerful. And he hit in the state championship game up in Sacramento last year. He hit an NBA range 3. Hit a couple of deep ones tonight. And his team did prevail, 80-65. And both Tyler and Joshua had 25 points apiece. Some of that was in kind of garbage time as the game was a little bit out of hand. But I got to mention Snooky Wigington also from Rebay Academy. And, we have some big-time guards, point guards in Southern California with Devin Askew and Lamont Butler. But Snooky at 5'3", he's a small guy, but he's as solid of a point guard as you'll see in Southern California. And of course, a championship team, you need a good point guard, so you can see why they've done well. The night game tonight, so basically they clear the arena, and then later tonight, you can see the line behind me. As you go to you can't see the end of it from here, but you're going to have Sierra Canyon is playing Rancho Christian, and featuring the top player in the country, and Evan Mobley. And then Sierra, of course, with all their stars. We're not going to get into that tonight, as there'll be plenty of time in the season for that. But of all these wings here today, you know, I think upside, you look at Joshua Christopher. Right now, Tyler Powell physically is as strong as anybody in Southern California. And then Reese Dixon-Waters, I think his frame, you know, he pretty solid right now, and he's going to fill in. He's going to continue to develop. He didn't score like he normally does tonight. And then Jaylen Clark would be the defensive guy. He's a senior. So that gives you a little layout of what happened here tonight. We're going to continue in a different neighborhood here in Southern California next weekend, and we appreciate you joining us. Have a great remainder of the weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.